장진호 전투 그 스토리를 6.25 참전용사이신 장리께서 들려주시겠습니다. 박수로.
Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
감사합니다. 제 얘기는 아주 짧게 하겠습니다. 하고 영어로 하는 걸 용서해 주십시오. On 28 June 1950, 3 days after North Korea invaded the entire front of the Rebellion, they captured Seoul and Han River Bridge was destroyed. I came there trying to cross the bridge, but the bridge was no longer there, so I had to swim over the river. It took me about 1 hour to go over. Then I went all the way to Daegu and joined the Korean Army. Korean Army needed English-speaking officer. They couldn't find a name, so they designated me as a Korean Army lieutenant and assigned me to U.S. Marine. I landed, I was in the same ship, SS Mackenzie in General MacArthur, and landed in Incheon and went over Seoul. And then we went to all the way to Wonsan, Hamhung, and then to Chosin Reservoir. That's where I want to talk about today. Chosin Reservoir is Jangjin-ho, about almost 100 miles away from the port of Hunna. They are Chinese. Almost 120,000 Chinese were waiting and trying to entrap the 1st Marine Division. General MacArthur ordered 1st Marine Division to advance as rapidly as possible. The Chinese are nothing but the symbolic forces. They were the Chinese roundmen. They do not know even how to fight. So ordered the Marine all the way to Hagaru, Changjin, and their Manchurian border. Their Marine fought well. They in conformity with their tradition. They were professional in fighting Chinese. There were 120,000 Chinese troops, whereas Marine were only about 10,000. They fought back vigorously, very well, professionally, and as a result, Chinese 9th Army, which was consists of the 4 Chinese corps, about 120,000 troops. They were defeated thoroughly. Their casualties were 50,000 that they killed in action, whereas Marines' casualties were about to be a few thousand. The Marines fought well. It's legendary. I wish that I can talk to you how they fought in detail, but due to the time, I'm going to be very short. Another thing is, when we went to Changjin area, we had almost 200,000 Korean civilians living there. And they were very cooperative, very friendly to us. I had some pictures where they were giving us intelligence about the Chinese locations, and General MacArthur and General Ahmad was telling us that there was no more Chinese, but Korean civilians came to us, told us, hey, there are Chinese just waiting for you over the hill. And Marine trusted Korean civilians would, rather than trusting the high headquarters intelligence. Another thing is we have almost 100,000 Korean civilians were following us when we advance in different directions. They were almost 1 month they had to go through the cold weather and snow and the mountains, but oftentimes Chinese troops mingled with the Korean civilians and then fight against us. So we have to oftentimes have to fire at the following civilian population. It's a very sad story because many of them died. And on the way, we have to go over the bridge. Since Chinese were among the Korean civilians, we have to destroy the bridge without allowing Korean civilians to cross the bridge. I have never met anyone who have followed us and survived. We had about 100,000 Korean civilians evacuated from Hungnam, but there were equal number of them also evacuated by Korean army forces in the area. Korean civilians, in my view, were really friendly to us. They were that's only the couple of years after communists took over entire North Korea. So they were still not indoctrinated. They are still very much friendly and give us all kinds of help. Every Marine who were there, they know what happened to Korean civilians. Even now, they talk about the friendship shown by Korean civilians. As I said, I don't want to talk about too much about the details of the fightings, but finally they came over to Hunan, as Chairman board say that the show party have to dynamite the entire harbor and then do that there. The thing I want to talk about is the Chinese communists I'm talking about. Last year, they made a big movie about the Chosen Reservoir battle. They spent $100,000. Practically every Chinese Communist Party members have to attend. It was the most popular movie in the entire world in terms of the number of attendees. They want to make sure that they won the battle. They want to show that they can fight against the most able fighting forces and won the battle. But I think it is a kind of a Chinese political propaganda, and I do not think it will have any appeal to U.S. population, and I don't see any movie being shown in the other part of the United States. And Korean, the audiences in Korea, they also refuse to see the movie because it's nothing but propaganda. I think in the 1950, there was military confrontation between Chinese and the U.S. And in my view, same confrontation is occurring 72 years after the Korean War. Thank you for listening.